Welcome to MeynellTV episode 6, where I hope to bring a little bit of joy, thinking and knowledge into your lives. I've had a few conversations this week about inclusion. Now, inclusion and inclusive practice is not mentioned in the playwork principles. People want to know why. The reason it's not mentioned in the playwork principles is because it's covered under legislation. We are duty bound to be inclusive, but the legislation talks about nine main characteristics, and I think we need to go beyond this. When people talk about inclusion of children in our settings, they tend to be thinking about children with disabilities because they are very visual, and what we forget is that if playwork practice is not inclusive, if playwork practice is not about equality and equality, then it's not really playwork. Because how can you have unconditional positive regard for children if some are left out of your offering, whether they are left out because of a prejudice, because of an ignorance, or because they don't feel that your setting is accessible to them? Inclusion is vital, and we need to widen our perspective and our thinking about inclusion. What about children who are carers? What are we doing to make sure that they have opportunities to be included in that playwork offering, those play provisions that we make? What about traveller communities who drift in and out? What about the social backgrounds of the people who live in your community? The ethnicities, the cultural diversities, are they represented in your setting? How can you have people in your community who feel that they can't have an access to what you're offering, or who feel that what you're offering is not for them? If everybody in your community feels that they can access what you're offering, and by everybody, I mean everybody, whatever label you want to give, and you shouldn't really give labels, if everybody feels they can be using what you're offering, then you have an inclusive setting. But if there is no representation in your materials of diversity, if there's no representation on your walls of the diverse world in which we live, then you are not offering an inclusive setting. So do yourself an audit and make sure you are inclusive. Welcome, Martin. Thank you so much for agreeing to be my guest this week on MeynellTV. I'm impressed with who you are and what you do, and especially by the fact that you are an Ironman athlete. And I know once on the phone I asked you how you possibly had the time for doing it, and you said a very graceful family, or gracious family. But how, as an athlete, have you been finding lockdown, especially as it's different in Wales to England?
Yeah, Hi, Meynell, and thanks for that lovely introduction. Yeah, fine. I mean, it's a really important coping mechanism for me, getting out and getting exercise. And I don't think it was originally, but over the years, it's become something that's really important for kind of my mental health and for processing information and things. So being able to get out and go for a run or a bike ride or whatever is really, really important. And yeah, I mean, I've done what I can in the house. I've got a turbo trainer in the front room, and there's an online cycling software game thing called Zwift that you can kind of go on and ride with people all over the world. And I've been doing gym circuits in the garden and getting out for runs when I can within kind of lockdown guidelines. And yeah, it's it's not really optional. So I kind of have to get out and exercise to feel well.
Okay.
And I think in the last week or so, the lockdown's been loosened a little bit in Wales, so it was only one exercise per day, so that was generally prioritized for taking the dog out, but now we can go and exercise multiple times. So I've been taking advantage of more time out there in the fresh Welsh air,
out on the road. Yeah, and you've done some nice beach scenes, and I do like the beach.
yeah.
But in the last week you put up a different post on Facebook, and it was pink and white, and it stood out, and the words "judge less, love more." Where does that come from?
Well, it came from my head, really, but I guess it's just condensing down a philosophy that that's developed over time. And I mean, I think we've talked before about the Bill and Ted factor. The utopian future that Bill and Ted film is based on their mantra: "Be excellent to each other," and that's something I've always held quite dear. And I think there's so much polarization in the world.
Oh yeah,
and we see a lot of you're this or this. You're a Brexiter, or you're a Remainer, or you're somebody who follows the lockdown rules, or you're not somebody who follows the lockdown rules. And we're polarized into these sort of factions, and it just doesn't sit very comfortably for me. And I think, but some of the judge less, love more, it just encapsulates for me what I think about the world, and it's informed by playwork, really. As a profession, we try and be non-judgmental, and we take children at who they are when they turn up in our setting. We assume that children are competent and are competent individuals in their own right, and when we see children engage in behavior that we find uncomfortable, the first thing we do is ask questions of ourselves and the environment that children are in, and then the environment that children might have when they're not in the setting. And we don't just assume that behavior is bad. And I think that's a really, really, really crucial bit of playwork as an approach to working with children. And I think that's stretched across the rest of my life. We should look at behavior in adults that we don't understand and try and view it with an open heart and a not no judgment, because judgment is a really important survival skill for us as humans. We need to be able to use our judgment, but I just think we could all do with judging things less and just being a bit more open-hearted. And I read something a few weeks ago as well that resonated with me, where they were saying it's okay not to have an opinion. And I thought that was quite a freeing thing to think about as well. We're all expected to have an opinion on everything. We got this stuff shooting at us from social media all the time and the news, and it's like, what do you think about this? What do you think? Actually, if I don't have all of the facts at my fingertips, or I don't have the time to research it properly, I'm starting to feel okay to say, actually, I don't have an opinion on it at the moment. And that's all about that, just judging less. And I definitely do it. I definitely do judge too much sometimes. So it's a reminder to me just to reflect on, really, is in every interaction I make, am I trying to judge less and just be a little bit more open-hearted and a bit more loving?
With your permission, I think I might take your little graphic and put it on the bottom of all my emails. And definitely we'll take that graphic and use it wherever I can. But I think we should also credit you with it.
Oh, well, bless you. I've no idea whether it actually, it may be something I've read somewhere, but yeah, it works for me.
I think it's brilliant. And now you just started talking about how that also impacts on our playwork practice. And I can't have an interview with you and not talk to you about the playwork essentials and the videos and the stuff that Play Wales are doing. And Play Wales is an amazing organization, and the resources available on the Play Wales website and the information that comes out of Play Wales, well, we're telling people about it now, and hopefully they'll access us. But tell me a little bit about Playwork Essentials and what the aim is there.
Yeah, so it's the aim is it's a series of videos that we're putting out on YouTube. Follow our social media. We're putting it out on Twitter and Facebook. Or if you go on YouTube and search for Play Wales Playwork, they should pop up. But they're 5-minute videos, really designed to give people a a brief introduction to aspects of playwork. It kind of came out of, we've got playwork learners in the middle of qualifications at the moment, and their qualifications have stalled. So we wanted to provide something to give a bit of momentum to them. We've also got playworkers in Wales who are furloughed, who are wanting to be doing some CPD at the moment. And we've also got people who've fallen into a role of doing facilitating play in childcare hubs, working in schools, looking after the children of key workers, who might find a playwork approach helpful. So the idea was to provide something that could give an overview of playwork as an approach to working with children. So we've done some short videos on playwork principles, dynamic risk assessment, theory of loose parts, and there are more to come.
Excellent.
We'll be releasing them over the coming weeks. If you're a Welsh speaker, some of those videos will be made available in Welsh as well. It's just part of a package of support. Like you say, the website is there. It's full of information. If playworkers need more than what's in the Playwork Essentials videos, there is loads of stuff on there that people can really get their teeth into. And actually, one of the things we're going to be releasing, hopefully the first volume next month, we've got 4 new publications that are based on materials from our qualifications, but are going to be made more widely available. And those will be much more in-depth texts on playwork.
Brilliant. Well, I look forward to reading those when they come out. And if they're things that sell, then we can put them into Meynell Games bookseller and people can buy them from us as well. Thank you so much for being my guest this week. Judge less, love more. Thank you so very, very much.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Thanks, Meynell.
Now come with me as we go across to the big chair for this week's Playwork story.
This week's story is called You're Only a Babysitter, written by Ellie. I have been working as a playworker for 11 months now, and coming from an early years background, I did not know much about playwork, so I asked if I could study a level 3 to increase my knowledge and understanding. After being told by my committee they would not allow me to do the course, as they did not need any more level 3s, I decided to organise it myself, and I finally joined the course in January. After my first evening at college, I went into work all enthusiastic and ready to tell my fellow playworkers about my course and the tutors and what I'll be doing over the next year. So as we waited to get into the hall to set up, I said I needed to do 2 observations a week. So I'll need some time to do this. One of the older playworkers, the dinosaur, as I call her, turned and said to me that I was wasting my time doing this course and it's ridiculous observing children, and we are only here because the parents need someone to look after the children while they are at work, and we are all babysitters. I was so angry. I thought, how dare she put a black cloud over my new course when I was on a real high. So when we went into the playground, I grabbed my pen and notebook and headed off to do my observations. She followed me around, tutting. I ignored this through gritted teeth and carried on with the observations. The next week I turned up to work with more knowledge and was talking to the rest of the playworkers about what I had learnt, had read about, and we were all having a really good conversation about what is playwork when she said to me, the dinosaur, that it was a bit extreme doing this qualification just for an after-school club. I told her this qualification will open up many opportunities for me, and I was doing this course to become a good playworker and good in my job. I then was playing shops with a group of children. I had a different age range, ranging from the ages of 5 to 11, so I decided to think about what I had read and researched and meeting the needs of different age groups. So with the older children, I asked them for the correct change. The children were enjoying working out the correct change when she came over, the dinosaur, and told me I shouldn't be doing this, as I'd had their time at school and we are just babysitters and not teachers. I told her I knew we are not teachers, but I was supporting the child who wanted to make her play more complex. Her attitude and behaviour makes me so angry. Just because she is there to top up her pension, she should respect others who want to learn and better themselves. She would benefit from going on a couple of training courses to learn what playwork is and the role of a playworker. And if really does not want to learn, then she should let someone who does have a passion for playwork take her job. It's a different sort of story, but what it's telling me is that we need to be thinking about why we're doing the job, and that we're not doing the job for ourselves. We're doing the job because we want to help and support the children's play. We want there to be the play that they want to have. We respond to the play cues of the children. We moderate our own behaviours so that children get the most out of their time with us. And it doesn't matter where you're working. If you're working in the context of children's play, then learning about play, learning about the role of the adult, the role of the play worker, absolutely fundamental. And the more people that go through the qualification and get the enthusiasm that Ellie has, the better.
Thanks for watching this episode of MeynellTV. Massive, huge, enormous thanks to Martin King-Sheard. Judge less, love more. Don't forget to use hashtag MeynellTV across our social media. Please like, comment, subscribe, and tell all your friends about it. See you next week. Bye! If you've been enjoying MeynellTV, perhaps you'll like one of our other projects. 8 Weeks of Conference is an online virtual event featuring networking and fantastic presenters from around the world. Check out the website.